Hello everybody and welcome to my brand new channel called The Real Super Sam. Here is a spin-off of my gaming channel called Super Sam, and this is a YouTube channel where I'm going to do things that I have always wanted to do, like TV show reviews, comic book reviews of superheroes obviously. So yeah, let's get on with it. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like or enjoy more, and comment what you would like to see also. So with this episode, I'm going to start off with one of my favorite 90s superhero cartoons, Spider-Man. And right now, I'm reviewing episode 1, Night of the Lizard. In the 90s, superhero cartoons were making a huge comeback with telling different, fun, and unique ways of telling classic, iconic superhero stories like the X-Men, or the more iconic Batman The Animated Series, which is considered to be one of the best ones. But personally for me, my favorite is Spider-Man, of course. I mean, look at my channel icon. This show had almost all of Spider-Man's classic villains that Stan Lee and Steve Ditko made perfectly adapted for the 90s TV screen, and the character designs were either perfect or better than the originals. In the show, you relate to Spider-Man and Peter Parker because of the choices they make and the difficulty of saving New York and living an everyday normal life. I have all 65 episodes, the entire Spider-Man The Animated Series. I do want to review them all. If this video does well, or if there are a lot of requests on a specific episode, I will change and do that one. So please like and subscribe for this channel for more videos. And check out my other channel where I play superhero video games, Super Sam. I just hit 40 subscribers today. 40. I think it might have sounded like I said 4. And I am very excited to see how I grow in the future years. So thank you all for subscribing and liking. So on with the episode. For the first review ever, I'm doing Night of the Lizard, the premiere episode from November 19th, 1994. Spider-Man first appeared in Amazing Fantasy issue 15, August 1962. It featured his iconic origin story, and the TV show came out a little over 32 years later. So one thing I have to mention is the intro. The theme is amazing, produced by Joe Perry, the occasional lead singer of Aerosmith. In the first episode on DVD, it isn't the first thing that appears, but like in every other episode. So I decided to talk about the theme song here first. It all starts off with their friendly neighborhood Spider-Man sitting on top of a gargoyle talking about New York City not being as peaceful as it looks. Automatically, the swinging looks perfect, and the costume is so classic. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man suits in all of media. It starts off with two subway workers fixing a light or something, I can't really tell, until they get interrupted by some monster behind them, causing them to run away. One worker gets grabbed back down, and the other guy speeds away, causing Spider-Man to save him from his panic and all the other cars he's crashing into. He saves the guy who tells him about a monster, naturally like anyone else. Spider-Man just swings away thinking the guy is bonkers. He tells the guy to not have the cops blame him, so this, in the first 5 minutes, tells us that Spider-Man at this time is considered to be a criminal, and it is like that for almost the whole show, which is very classic Spider-Man. But whenever the cops aren't with him, or after him, like in the comics sometimes, I enjoy those moments too. The next scene, we see Peter Parker go to the Daily Bugle and shows Spider-Man photos of Robbie Robertson. Robbie tells Peter about a monster in the sewers called the Lizard. Jameson then walks in and tells Peter that a subway worker got captured down there, and his friend says that the Lizard got him. Peter's rival at the Bugle, Eddie Brock, then comes in boasting, but eventually Jameson changes his mind and gives the Lizard scoop angle to Peter Parker, considering he already knows Dr. Kurt Connor's a part of the Lizard story, because he is one of Peter Parker's teachers in college. Already showing some hatred towards Parker before, Eddie is now determined to one-up Parker on this story. And Peter Parker is also shown to be in college, so this isn't classic high school Spider-Man. And in the first episode already, we don't see his origin story, which is a very good start to any TV series or show or movie series, or in my opinion. Jameson is offering $1,000 for a picture of the Lizard, and Peter knows he can get it. He starts thinking about getting a new bike, but when he gets home, he sees his overdue bills that his Aunt May has, and how she took him in after his parents were killed. He is now determined to get the Lizard picture faster so he can help her with the $1,000. So that night, he goes to the sewers to look and snaps a picture of the lizard foot that's human size. When he goes to college to investigate, he runs into Debra Whitman, a small character from the Spider-Man mythos, who I am surprised was put in here besides Gwen Stacy. Anyway, they are being followed by Eddie Brock, who is taking notes on them. But then Peter Parker's spider sense goes off, which I think is a cool effect. It kind of has the air and everything around his head turn green, so he can focus on locating the danger. They hear a crash and run into Dr. Connors' lab. He tells them to stay away, but Debra refuses, and the giant figure turns around and is a giant human lizard. Apparently he has wrapped up and kidnapped Dr. Connors. The lizard then escapes through the window. Eventually, Spider-Man goes straight to Dr. Connors' house to find answers, and he finds out that the lizard monster is actually Dr. Kirk Connors. So his wife Martha goes through his origin story, how he wants to regrow his arm with lizard DNA. Only this version also uses a machine called the Neogenic Recombinator. Anything else is pure classic lizard, which I love, especially for the first episode. Spider-Man then goes back to the sewers to try and stop the lizard after he took Martha Connors with him down into the sewers after he knocked around Spider-Man. In the scene of him crawling down the sewers, he mentions the Defenders and more other Marvel heroes and how you would never see them in the sewers. And I love that part. It makes it feel more like a Marvel show than just a Spider-Man show. And in the first episode, has me not know what to expect next. And the Spider-Man comedy is on point, and I love how they already established that he's just a guy in a suit making jokes. His Spider-Man essence is here in the first episode perfectly. It's revealed that the lizard wants to turn everyone above ground into lizard hybrids like him, but he needs Martha to operate the machine. Spider-Man hears this and attacks him. Unknowingly, the whole world is in the hands of Spider-Man. This show is well known because of the cast, and the premiere episode did really a good job introducing key important characters in Spider-Man's life, like the Daily Bugle, Aunt May, and of course the Lizard. It was on Fox, so it had a lot of sensory, so Spider-Man only threw 3 punches, and they were all in the final episodes of Season 3. Spider-Man was voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes, and he is my second favorite person to ever voice the character, even to this day in very late 2017. He has perfect delivery, and the same moment when he tells a joke, you can hear the urgency of the situation, and when he needs to be serious, like when Peter's talking about Aunt May, he does that great also. Ed Asner voiced J. Jonah Jameson, who I mentioned because he is in 35 of the 65 episodes. Robbie Robertson, who was voiced by Rodney Salisbury, was almost perfect. He reminded me a lot of the Tobey Maguire movies. He was in 31 episodes. Eddie Brock is automatically shown as the rival to Spider-Man at the Daily Bugle, like in Spider-Man 3. I can't help but wonder if they chose that for the movie because of this TV show. Aunt May is very classic, that I think any Spider-Man fan can write all of her lines in this episode, about having past due bills but hiding them from Peter and always worrying about him. Like at the end of this episode, which always makes me smile, when Peter Parker delivers the $1,000 bonus he got, she starts yelling at him for being in the sewers and that he needs to take a shower. The scene makes me laugh every time, and it really finishes the episode on a great note. She even thinks Spider-Man is a threat and is worried what would have happened if Spider-Man caught him. So let's talk about the villain of the episode. In my opinion, the villains are the reason I love comics so much. So many unique designs for characters, so many powers, the stories and histories are so fascinating, there could be classes told about them. In this episode, we have the Lizard, one of Spider-Man's most classic villains from the Steve Ditko era. The Lizard in the show is Dr. Connors, who turned into the Lizard trying to do a good thing, but goes horribly wrong, punishing him with a curse of becoming a giant lizard. He has all his classic powers. His skin is tough to hurt. I assume he can control other reptiles and regenerate. He has super strength. He even moves like a lizard in most scenes on all fours and jumping and crawling everywhere. But I do have a problem with this episode's take on the Lizard, which is also the only time this problem occurs in the TV show. It's that Connors does not want to become the Lizard in the comics, which is right by the show in the beginning, so much that Connors fights his transformation, but when he eventually loses, he turns into a complete second personality like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In this episode, it is like he wants to turn everyone into lizards, like Dr. Connors wants to do this, not that the lizard wants to do this, and that him becoming the lizard only made it easier. He tries to reason with his wife to make that this will help all of mankind, like he's gone crazy, and doesn't care about what anyone else wants, and it's not his second personality that's opposite, something reptilian making him do this. For example, he knocks over Martha and feels bad about it. That's Dr. Connors in the lizard's body. The lizard in the comics wouldn't care at all if that happened. It's actually my biggest problem with the first Amazing Spider-Man movie also, but Dr. Connor did seem a bit mad before he turned scaly in the movie. In the show, we see Connors more at the end of the episode, where it is shown that he is a family man living in the suburbs with his kid and wife. In the movie, in a deleted scene, it seems like Connors isn't even close to his kid, and he doesn't see his wife at all, but that is for another video. The show has it seem like Connors is a villain, like the lizard, which is wrong. When he changes back, it is like the comics, which I do love, and seeing him more than just in this episode, and he's in the lizard in more episodes actually, is something I wish they could do in the movies. Again, like in the Tobey Maguire movies did. Connors was never the lizard, but he was Peter's teacher. He could have been the lizard in the 5th or 6th movie. Sony was pushing for him to be in the 4th one as the lizard, which is the reason, or one of the reasons, it never happened. So, in the TV show, when the lizard turns into the lizard, and then when he turns back to Kirk Connors, that's comic book accurate when he is the lizard. And what he's saying, it doesn't really work, which I like how I think in the future he only has a few more speaking episodes. On the look to the characters, I really don't have much to say that I want comic book reviews because they are almost the exact same. Like they are ripped out of the comics and just put into animation form for the TV screens. I love the lizard's red eyes and his lab coat though. His pants and black shirt underneath him make him seem more human, which I love. Like he is just like us, but with a different ideology of how things should be. With different abilities, but not completely, because he can still walk and talk like us. He actually only talks in 2 future episodes out of 5. The show's animation is great. I like it more than Batman the Animated Series. The colors, the action, the environments, the smooth web slinging and action scenes. Sometimes they reuse shots from previous episodes in future ones. I do not know why they do that. Maybe for time or budget. I'm not so sure. There is a few seconds where everything stops and just the lights go flashing. I hate these looks. It doesn't look like Spider-Man or this show at all. It is only in this episode also for some reason. I figure it was worth mentioning because it only happens here. But yeah, it's probably the worst animation in the show at the end when he's turning back into Dr. Connors. At the end, after Eddie Brock brings Jameson to Connors' house claiming he is the lizard, there's another funny moment where Brock bets that he will eat the morning paper if he's wrong, and sure enough, he is. So, overall, would I recommend this episode? Heck, just to show to Spider-Man starters or people who prefer DC and are just starting watching superhero cartoons? The show, yes. This episode, no. The show has really good animation, character designs, fun stories from the comics, and really funny lines. Like when Spider-Man refers to the lizard as a future handbag. This episode is great, but not to start off with. Sure, it has the bugle, but not Spider-Man's origin, which doesn't exactly make the show or the episode perfect or not. But when I do get to the episode, I think people should start off with, I will explain more. Here is a hint. If you watch my other videos, it has Spider-Man go up against my favorite Spider-Man rogue. Next on Spider-Man The Animated Series reviews, we will be looking at Sting of the Scorpion. I am doing these episodes so far in box set order. If you want anything specific, please comment down below. I am planning to do comic book reviews also, and they won't always be on Spider-Man or Marvel even. So stay tuned. Since this is my first review, please put down some tips that will help me in the future episodes, and please like and subscribe. This is something I've always wanted to do on YouTube, and working on it, this video was more work, but also more fun than I thought it would be. Anyway, once again, please remember to like and subscribe to The Real Super Sam, and have a good day.